So from Mustard Tiger in the Discord said, actually tagged me in this comment and said, you today said for sure, Springer is not being traded. So of course my brain instantly said, well, what if we did trade Springer? And I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But is there a scenario in which Springer is movable? And then we signed a Nemo with the freed up money. Does that make any sense? Do I hate it? I have no idea. My brain is melting a bit thinking about it. Can Springer even be moved without eating so much of his contract?
This is how 3-day threads start in Discord, actually.
Yeah.
Comments like that. I love Mustard Tiger just being like, I don't know.
Okay.
So this is my opinion on it, and I'd love to hear what you think, Adam. I think George Springer still has a ton of value. I think he still is an incredible bat. His plate approach and his swing choices are elite. Those always age well. I know his biggest knock is his health again. He is making, what was it, $25 million a year?
25 million a year. Yep.
He's got 4 years left on his contract. Yeah, I think George Springer has value and could be traded, especially when you look at the free agent options currently for the outfield. I think that there is a little bit of a hole there. I think it's why Brandon Nemo's price tag is being pushed so high, is that there's not a lot of competition there, especially if you look at shortstop and the free agent class there, right? Definitely a lot more competition, and some of those guys may get less than they actually should for the exact opposite reason. There's so many high-end shortstops available this season. So, yeah, I think there is a world where George Springer could be moved. I don't think it benefits the Jays personally to do so, but I think, I mean, we watched Vernon Wells get traded. You can move immovable contracts, and I don't think George Springer's is that.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't think he's movable, but with some qualifying statements to go along with it. Like, yes, I would have said the same thing about Vernon Wells in 2010 or whatever, that Vernon Wells' contract was immovable. Somehow you get out from under it, right? Bad contracts do get moved. He does have 4 years left, $100 million. Who's a team that would be interested in that? It would be a team who's in the outfield market, right? Someone who's in on a Brandon Nemo but misses out, right? If I was the New York Mets, would I rather Brandon Nemo or George Springer? I think I would rather George Springer.
I think so too.
Right?
I think if I'm the Blue Jays, I'd rather George
I
Springer.
think almost anybody would rather George Springer than Brandon Nemo. Especially at that contract. When you compare, I'm going to have to give Nemo 6 years, $140 million, or I can get George for 4 years, $100 million. It's comparable, and you're getting a better player. You're going to have to trade, give up assets to get that, though. What's a team like the Mets or the Yankees, if they lose Aaron Judge, or any of these teams, going to want to move to get Aaron Judge? Because, again, this is what it comes down to for me, is that a team that's competing only wants to move guys that aren't MLB ready. They only want to move AAA and lower prospects. That does not help the Blue Jays, right? Any teams that are willing to move an MLB ready guy or someone who is, pitching already in the MLB, whatever the case may be, that would help the Blue Jays, aren't interested in adding on. Like, the Arizona Diamondbacks aren't looking to add George Springer as their saving grace, so they're out.
Yeah.
So that is part of my thinking process here when I go, he's unmovable, just to frame it in a way where, like, yeah, he could be movable, but that means the Blue Jays have totally punted.
I agree.
Full rebuild.
In my opinion, any scenario where we see George Springer moved,
full rebuild.
Look out, because salary is we've already watched Gosman and Barrios be moved. We are now looking towards
the Tiedemann or Elvis Martinez the new young core as being the replacements for Vladdy and Bo. We're probably letting them walk if we haven't traded
Yeah,
them
we're
already.
talking about the new general manager and what direction he's taking. Like,
Yeah.
my God, in a scenario where Springer is being moved, our world has come down around us.
Okay. So yes, that is my qualifier, is that George Springer with his contract cannot be moved. Yes, unless our stadium burns to the
We
ground.
really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.